Hi. I started smoking at the age of 13 years old. I am 31 years old right now. And there were a couple times where I quit. Sometimes a week, a month, 6 months, even 2 different times where I quit an entire year. So I know what it's like whenever I make it past the withdrawals. I know what's worked best for me to get me past that first week of quitting. And I'm talking about cigarettes, but also weed, because I've always paired the two. There was one year where I only smoked weed, and I smoked a lot of weed that year. But for the most part, I've always paired the two together. It's like I smoke weed and cigarettes at the end of the night. But now, electronic cigarettes. For like the past 5 or 7 years, I've been using not Views the entire time, but mostly electronic cigarettes. And hi, kitty. Do you smoke? Probably not. It's a good thing you don't smoke. Anyway, so recently I've been contemplating quitting smoking, and for many different reasons, like financial, energy, stress, all the things. Like whenever I make it past the withdrawals, I know I'm healthier, I have more energy, obviously I'm spending less money, and just it's easier, it seems, to be a more joyful human being. But getting past those withdrawals has most of the time always been hard. There have been a couple times where it seemed much easier than the other times, and I'm pretty sure that's because of my state of mind. The times whenever I quit smoking and it was easy, I was in a much better place. I was excited to quit. It felt like a rebirth. It felt like a whole new perception on life and how to live. It was like I was getting my joy and dopamine no longer from these substances, but I was finding it from within myself. And I was also getting into meditation and just eating healthier and living healthier in general, and a bunch of things. But I was living more consciously, and I was realizing that for me to feel relaxed, for me to feel joy, for me to feel pleasure, all of the things that I've chased and used these substances for, I can do it without the substances. And finding that out, and then like shifting my entire foundation of how I live life has been very empowering. It's always been aligned with some type of spiritual empowerment from within myself by shifting my perception, and that has always made quitting easier. There's been a time where I've done that, and I swear it's like the withdrawals just weren't as bad. It makes me think that I know a lot of the withdrawals, especially with nicotine, are physical. It's not all psychological. Like your body literally hurts. Today, I decided to not bring my e-cig. I did not quit smoking yet, but I've been heavily contemplating it the past week. And so for the first time in a long time, I left my e-cig at home whenever I went to work. So I have not used nicotine at all today. This has been the longest I've gone without using nicotine. It's 2 o'clock now. I woke up at 5 a.m. It's been all day, and so I plan on using it after this video. But what I did was plant a seed and actually start going in the other direction. I left my e-cig at home so I could start to get the nicotine out of my system, because I really am thinking about going all in and not using it anymore. Either tomorrow or the next day, but tomorrow is my day off, and it's gonna be harder. And my plan and intention tomorrow is to do the same thing I did today, is not use at all until after 2 p.m. And then the next day, that's whenever I really plan on like letting go and quitting. But anyway, I was talking about withdrawals. So withdrawals from nicotine, it seems, are not as bad whenever I quit, and I pair me quitting cigarettes and these substances with some spiritual awakening or some shift of how I live my entire life. And it's still hard. I mean, I know it was still, especially like the first couple days, it's always hard. It's always breaking past that mold that I made for my mind and body and all types of things. It's just breaking it out into the unknown once again, and getting my joy and pleasure and staying and being calm at the end of the night naturally, just from within myself, by creating the chemicals within myself. And one thing that I'm going to start doing this time that I didn't do last time I quit smoking, I made it about a month, and then I started smoking and again. And so last time I was not meditating, I was not doing yoga, which I know has helped me all the other times where I've actually made it an entire year. I don't think I've made, well, I think the longest I went was a year and a half without smoking. Or maybe it was even under a year, maybe it wasn't a whole year, I don't even fully remember. But I know I've quit for an entire year at least once, and then another time it was either almost a year or a little bit over a year. I just don't remember. But I really want to quit for longer than a year. If I do quit, I want to actually quit. At least quit for 5 years, and then I'll come back. Jeez, no. No, like after I quit for the first couple months, it's always easier to not smoke anymore for me. I mean, I've always went back because of some little thought, some psychological thing inside my head that I'm missing out. And every single time I go back, I'm not missing out. It's like my joy and the high of life, everything gets distorted by the amount of chemicals and nicotine and THC I put it into my body. And then I forget what it felt like whenever I was sober and whenever I didn't need nicotine. And I forget what it felt like to not have to deal with withdrawals. Like whenever I don't smoke, I don't have to use nicotine to make the stress go away. I don't feel like, I'm not putting my energy to go get nicotine before I do anything else. I can't do anything until I hit my e-cig. And I forget what it's like to not even have that. To just be here. To just be able to sit here. Just wake up in the morning and sit here. And not be all like stirred up inside. And so that's why I really want to quit. That's like the main reason, is just not being so like spontaneous, so compulsive inside my mind and emotions, and to actually dive into the unknown. I've been in my comfort zone. Like I know this is what brings me joy and I'm comfortable, but I know years ago, whenever I did quit, whenever I got into meditation and I started to dive deeper into this life and this mind and body and understanding it and not being run by compulsion and compulsive thoughts or emotions. And I know where I was then. It was like I was a whole nother person back then. I was not affected by what other people were doing, and I was always in a state of joy. But I was not in some toxic positive way. It was like I was able to deal with things, the reality of things, and I was able to sustain a state of joy within myself, and many other things. So much energy. I had so much energy whenever I didn't smoke. I was eating right, and I was meditating and doing yoga every single day. It was like all the stress and insecurities in my mind were gone. So my mind was not wasting energy on thoughts. My mind and body were not wasting any energy on anything. And that feeling, that being that I was, no, I'm still that being. I've just accumulated other things in my mind, other chemicals in my body, and I've lost a lot of discipline that I had back then. I had a lot of discipline. It was like I was waking up at 5 a.m. every single day, going to the gym, meditating for an hour every single day, and I was only eating certain types of food. It was like mostly raw, and I was still like making sure I got enough nutrients and certain things. I wasn't entirely raw, but it was mostly whole foods and mostly raw vegan food. and it was like a lot of beans, a lot of giant salads, oatmeal in the morning, just the healthiest food that I could think of. For the most part, it was like no processed foods. I was very disciplined, but I know that whenever I did that for so long, it was like the part of me inside, there's parts inside of me that was like, yeah, this is great, I feel great, I got so much energy, but like I still feel like I'm missing out. I feel like I'm missing out on that high. I feel like I'm missing out on the experience that the drugs have offered me. So I went back, and it was just like a small thought. It was like, oh, I'll just do it this one time, I have control over it now. And I did that, and it was fine. But then a couple weeks later, it was like I was bored again, and the fear of missing out, I was like, oh, I'll do it again. I was able to just do it one time, I'll do it 2 times this week. And then it happened again and again and again, and then it got worse, and then I was never able to quit it again. And then I went back into the cycle of using it and needing it to be calm, needing it to, I don't know. I know I don't need it, but it's like I trick my body and mind, and I expect it at certain moments in the day, and it's what brings me joy at times and calmness. Not entirely. I still, all the meditation and everything I've done, it's like I'm very aware, and I'm still able to do a lot more than I was before, since I've put in a lot of hours and just kind of shifted my perception. But I'm wasting money and felt the need to do it every single day, and I built the chemical dependency, a physical chemical dependency and a psychological, in many different ways, and this holds me back. I'm wasting energy. I'm creating a lot of suffering and stress because of this that doesn't need to be there. I'm wasting money, and I know if I actually want to grow as a human being, as a person, as a being, in the direction that I want to go, I actually want to be joyful, and I actually want to go inward and figure out what this is, figure out how to create joy and how to be an incredible human being that doesn't need any substance to be alive, to be calm, to be joyful, to write songs. And I know I've been there. Whenever I was in the routine of taking care of myself, or just not putting things into my body that messes the natural process of life up, I know what that felt like. I know what the energy was like in my mind and body and emotion. And it was like there was a tree inside of me that was blossoming fruit. And then I ruined it, and I started putting all types of weed. I started putting chemicals inside of my body, nicotine, weed, and also another thing that I didn't drink today was caffeine, which, yeah, it's been very difficult. Every single time I try to quit nicotine and caffeine, THC is not as bad, it seems. It's more psychological. It's still the fear of missing out, because it's like I'll write songs whenever I'm high, and I get high at the end of the night, so it can affect my sleep and make it harder to sleep for that first week. But I know once I get past like the first 3 weeks to a month, most, if not all, of the withdrawal symptoms for all the substances are gone, and then I'm just naturally the being that I was. It's like I'm there. I don't need these things. There's still traces of the thought processes that were inside of me and the emotions that were inside of me that are imbalanced because of my habits of me putting things into my body. But I know for 1 month of being sober away from these substances, I know how it feels. I know the perception of how what life looks like, and how it's full. I'm not finding the right words to explain this, but I know it's the direction I want to go. So if you're thinking about quitting, leave a comment down below. Let me know where you're at, or if you've already quit. Right now I'm just in the stage of thinking about it, and it was really hard today, and I'm still, a huge part of me psychologically, my mind doesn't want to let go, the fear of missing out. But at the same time, it's like I know that once I get through the first month, I'm not missing out on anything. There's really nothing. It's like I'm actually more calm, less stressed. I have way more energy and able to enjoy songwriting and many different things more because of that. And so really a lot of the things that I think that smoking weed and smoking e-cigs or nicotine gives me, it's not really giving me. It's something I would have a lot more joy, and I would feel a lot more relaxed if I didn't need those things. And if I could figure out how to do that on my own with his own body and mind, which I can. I've done it before. And that's why I'm actually deciding about quitting. And but still, fear of missing out. It's like, it is still fun. Like, there's something about smoking. I mean, smoking weed seems to actually give me something more than nicotine. I know nicotine, it creates a lot of the withdrawals, and then it makes it seem like it's helping you out, but really it's just solving the problems it created whenever you use it. But weed, it's like whenever I use it and write music, it seemed like it's helped me with that. But I know through the years, whenever I've written music sober, I have more energy. I feel like I can write more, and I already write a lot. Like I'm uploading 1 to 2 new songs a week, but I know whenever I'm sober, I'm better. I can do it more. And also, there's not as much drag. Like whenever I'm recording, it's like, if I'm smoking and recording, sometimes it can feel like drag. It's like, oh, all right, I gotta do this. All right, and then I have to really push myself. And then it's like I'll mess up the first take singing. And I mean, my state of mind is strong. My will is strong. So it's like I always do it. I always push through. But whenever I'm sober, there's not as much drag. It's not like, oh, I gotta do this. It's more like, whoop, I'm here. Sorry, kitty. And then, whoop, bam, boom, bada bang. And then I sing, and it's like, it's easier. It takes less takes, and it's less times of me messing up. And I'm just more focused. I have better memory. And I am more emotionally balanced whenever I don't need weed to calm me down. Because as long as I'm needing a substance outside of me for me to be a decent human being, then it's just, there's something about this, there's something about that does not set right with me. And I know that I'm not being the best version of myself as long as I'm using these substances. So I want to say that I actually am going to quit in a day or two. And I've really been thinking about it. And today I did. I left my e-cig at home. So, right now I'm withdrawing. And I already planned on, after this video, I'm going to go down there and eat some food and then smoke afterwards. Or my e-cig. But I don't have to get down on myself for that, because I know tomorrow I plan on not using until 2 again. And then for one last time, I will smoke. And at the end of the night tomorrow, I'll throw it all away. It'll be the last of it. And I'll wake up the next day and I'll go to work, and it'll be there will be challenges. But if I continue to work on my state of mind, and I've been doing yoga, it's now the 8th day in a row. If I continue to strengthen my state of mind and prepare tomorrow, and I don't even necessarily have to be prepared, because a lot of the time whenever I take this leap, it's like just surrendering myself completely is what helps me get into that spiritual state of mind, which helps me really get past the withdrawals. So if I just accept it whenever the time comes, and I just say, well, it's time, no more. And I just let the discipline back into my thought process, and I say, all right, no matter what, from here on out, this is how it is. There's no going back, no matter what. And I know I can get into that state of mind. So I'm feeling a little uneasy right now, because it's like there's parts of me that are gonna die. There's parts of me that I'm letting go of. And so there's parts of me inside of me, they're like, no, you must keep the smoke. And there's little demon shadow creatures in me like, no, Zach, you will not be happy if you don't continue to smoke. But this past week, I've really been looking them like straight in the eye, like, I know you're full of crap, and I know what this will do. And it's gonna be hard, but it's worth it. And I'm gonna regret it if I don't do it now. There are gonna be many things that happen. My life will be more stressful. And this is what I will do and shall do and must do. Anyway, I'll make another video tomorrow or the next day talking about this, talking about the journey. I'm not going to be too hard on myself, but still I must have that discipline that, yes, this, no matter what. But I can't get down on myself if, of course, I relapse and go back. Because last time that happened, I didn't really get down on myself, but I got more comfortable. And it's been a whole year, and I never tried to quit again since. So, I'm not going to get down on myself if I don't make it this week. But I think I can. I think I can. That was a book my mom would read to me when I was a kid, I think. About a train. I think I can. I think I can. You can't train. Give up. I'm just kidding. That was mean. You can train. You can. Okay? The train makes it past the top of the mountain. Alright, leave a comment down below. Thank you for watching. For the animals! Woo! You want to say goodbye, kitty? What do you think? What do you think about the YouTube world? Alright. Well, what? Yeah, it's YouTube. This is YouTube. Say goodbye.